Welcome to Dicejunkies, and this is Random Encounters, episode 28. Who knows? I'm here with
Q.
Damien.
and I'm Zeno Davis. Hope you enjoy.
I'll go first, or did I go first?
No, go ahead.
You go first.
I'll
I'm
go
still in
first.
shock.
Sorry, man.
17. Is it canon? Part 3.
Boom.
So, what do y'all want to talk about for Is It Canon?
Well, we've had a lot of things come out. Actually, you want to take the easy route here and go with the recent movie we've seen, a new addition to the Marvel Universe?
Well, we know what's canon there, though. I mean,
True.
Marvel has actually been pretty good in their cinematic universe about what's canon. So,
What did we do last time? Was it Mass Effect Andromeda? We
No.
talked about was it canon?
what Mass Effect? I know we did Star Wars the first time.
Oh, yeah.
We
they
did.
changed a lot.
Then we did some anime the second time or something.
All right, well, you rolled it. Give us something that has questionable canonicity.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Right.
What you got? What you got, man?
Yeah. Come on, you got it. We believe in you.
Well, I was just thinking you had mentioned Dawn of War, and that was one of them that we had discussed the last time we rolled this, and then I immediately went from there to Fallout,
Yeah.
and that's all I got. I mean, because I don't,
He doesn't have a lot of material under his belt.
Yeah.
not for Is It Canon.
Well, I could go a direction, but
Yeah,
none of
this
y'all
may
are going to know what I'm
this
talking
may be
about.
our last Is It Canon. We may take this one off the list. Well, let's talk about Fallout, though. I mean, we have Bethesda, and there's definitely been some flaws in that whole world there.
Yeah.
We've talked about Fallout a few times in the way that the Brotherhood is in this versus previous, and
I will admit that the factions threw me off with some operations. I mean, for example, we had a long debate, I remember, about whether the Brotherhood shoots ghouls on sight or not. You know, what their real policy is towards, you know, because there's in-game, you never see the Brotherhood attack an innocent person, not for tech, not for anything. Heck, you didn't even really see it in any of the other games, but you heard they did it.
Yeah.
So it made a question of the canon, because for me, the fact that I could carry a ghoul and a synth up into the freaking airship,
well, if you
and
talk
they
to
just-
the people, they tell you to get them out of there.
they don't do anything about it. They just say,
Yeah.
keep an eye on your pet synth or your pet ghoul. And honestly, you get as bad at that attitude when you go into one of the freaking Fallout shelters.
The only one they
Vault.
really shoot on sight is if you bring Dance back in there after the reveal of
Yeah,
that.
and he's pretty
So-
much, you know, at war.
And
like
that's
with-
just because they let him live and basically, just claimed he was dead. So him showing up in there defied the commander's word that he was dead.
and
So,
keep him secret.
yeah.
So, I mean, he's the only time you see them fire on a synth. And given that he is a synth that has access to all their information, he is a direct threat in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Because, I know, sure, Dance is our boy. We like Dance. But we all know about the reset code. We all know it exists. So,
Yeah.
is he a threat? He is a threat. But you could walk in there with darn near anything, and they'll just go, you only see them shoot feral ghouls, but then you did look it up and show me that they say that they're supposed to have a shoot on sight.
Oh, yeah.
So what does the Brotherhood's real alignment? What do they really do? Because how can you judge them if you don't know what they really do in practice?
Well, and I think that's sort of part of the problem with so much argument on whether or not the Brotherhood, where their alignment and where people believe they stand. Because if you read the material on them and you read the stuff throughout the game on them, it does make it sound like they are just pure genocide on anything that isn't human.
But like all throughout the games, you never really. Now I could be wrong because I've only played like New Vegas 3 and 4, and let's be honest, dude, the game is so big I could have missed something even in their case.
Oh yeah.
But I never really got called out to do that. I never got called out. I mean, I even did the one, like I said, I think I claimed Grey Gardens one time for, like, the Brotherhood, and they didn't go, like, go kill all the ghouls and replace with humans. They were just like, whatever.
Where are you standing on that, Damien? I mean, you've probably played more of New Vegas and stuff than any of the rest of us, so...
Well, I mean, New Vegas, there is a Brotherhood chapter there, but...
They're mostly inactive.
Yeah, there are specific quests that you can, ally with them, but you don't really...
They don't have a huge backstory or background or stance? Or...
Not as far as, not as far as I was ever able to unlock. I mean, as far as... They just came out there and, their previous elder was all about technology and stuff, and he got them all screwed up. And then he just disappeared, and everybody thought he was dead, and they went and hid in their bunker. In Fallout 3, you hear the ghouls say something about having problems with the Brotherhood, but the Brotherhood has the Washington Monument, all right, and that's where Three Dogs satellite dish is, and they hold that. And a block down and to the left is Undercity, Underworld, where it's a city full of ghouls. And they don't ever go bother them. They don't. Yeah. There's a ghoul that walks outside, walks the perimeter garden, and they don't ever. I've watched Brotherhood walk right by her. They don't ever say a thing to her, So in my experience in the game, and of course in Fallout 4, they only shoot ferals. They only send you after ferals. Like that asshole in Cambridge Police Department, he will only send you after ferals. He will not tell you to go kill anybody. And if you show up with a ghoul, he's like, get that thing away from me, and that's it. The whole thing is, they say one thing, but they do something else,
Now, what about the armor controversy?
That's another one, because everybody says the XO1 was Enclave armor. But in this game, they make it canon that the XO1 was designed and built before the bombs dropped, but it was never used in combat.
Okay.
But it doesn't make sense. That part...
Yeah, with the previous...
Yeah, because they took T-51 armor to Alaska, all right? They were doing tests on T-51 at Fort Strong, where you go wipe out...
That was awesome.
Where you go wipe out the super mutants. They were doing tests on the T-51. But now we have T-60 and XO1.
Yeah.
Now, at the very beginning of the game, when you're going to the vault, there are two dudes in T-60 armor. But it was also never used in combat. But it was issued to a select few people. Now, some people say that it was tested at Fort Strong with the T-51, and then it was just given to the soldiers in Boston, and that's why you see T-60 in Boston. But according to Brotherhood lore, they had T-60 after the bombs dropped, where they were Mariposa. They had T-60. So,
All right.
Well, I guess the answer to the question is, who friggin' knows?
Who friggin' knows?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I think that's sort of our answer for all this, is it canon? Is it who fucking knows, man? So anyway, I think that wraps up Is It Canon Part 3, and I think that, like I said, we're going to swap that out for something else.
Because
you sure? Because we could do Harry Potter next time.
Yeah, no, roll a fucking die, man.
The Cursed Child.
Roll a die.
does he sparkle?
Oh.
That'd be interesting.
Favorite fantasy game?
Oh, man. I played so many fantasy games, man. I got to start off with the favorite.
I'll go first again.
Oh,
because I usually do.
Well, he rolled it. Let him
go.
You
want to go? You got it? You ready?
Yeah, I've got one.
All right, go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the one that I love to keep replaying, Final Fantasy IV, or Final Fantasy II to those in the U.S. that don't go by the Japanese numbering. It's our boy with a Cecil, the Dark Knight, becomes a paladin.
Yeah.
It was the first game. It was the first game that told an amazing story where every character, I really liked it. It was the first time I said, this is almost like a freaking Tolkien novel. Each one of these characters is interesting. There's tragedy. There's a lot of high points in action. And I was interested in every single character. There's no character in the party to me that wasn't interesting and did not have a distinct personality that you couldn't sum up in one word.
All right.
Nice.
Damien?
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Final Fantasy Tactics? I guess that's fantasy. I mean, it's Final Fantasy, but
It's definitely fantasy.
it's more, it doesn't really get into the fantasy world a whole bunch. It's purely
Yeah, no,
tactical
he probably
battle.
read every entry. This is crazy
Well,
codex boy
true,
here.
True.
The rest of us were busy playing. He was probably reading
Yeah.
all the codex.
Like to
entries.
me, the fantasy aspect of that game was not the point of the game. It was purely the tactics. Like I was very just tactic driven on that game, and I loved the tactics.
It was almost as if it was Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But the actual, it could have been anything tactics, and it still would have been an awesome fucking game.
Oh yeah, but the only point that I would argue with you is, I'm going to throw this phoenix feather on this dude and resurrect him.
True.
That's pure fantasy.
Yeah, it's still fantasy. Has its fantasy elements. I
Let me
guess.
throw a potion at you and
Yeah.
knock you in the back of the head.
Oh god, that was
and
funny.
that's going to heal you.
I just pitched
You know.
it. They pitched it so hard. Dude.
But I mean, that is one of the first fantasy games that I was so much into. I wanted to see every part of it. And like he said, I was going to comment on that Final Fantasy. I never played that one, but it rings true that there was so much tragedy in Final Fantasy Tactics. The story had so much tragedy. Like,
Yeah, I remember somewhat of the story. And stuff.
yeah,
It
Delita's
was,
sister,
yeah.
Delita's sister getting killed.
Oh, what he
You
did
know.
to the princess. Oh man, just like, whew.
I guess I think fantasy. I always think of the world more so than just the aspects.
So
Yeah,
then what's
I
yours
just-
then?
Yeah.
Mine, I'm probably going to go with something a little bit newer, but Morrowind is definitely my favorite fantasy game. I mean, it was that was my first real big open world that just seemed to go on forever and had so many options, so many, it was a really awesome game.
Damn good choice.
You're gonna go based on the world, yeah. I mean, Morrowind was chock full of stuff to do and stuff going on.
So many different elements throughout the world, just things you could run up against. Of course, I mean, a lot of those elements are in Oblivion and Skyrim, and of course there was Daggerfall, before that. But I think Morrowind was the peak.
The epitome.
The
This
epitome.
is pretty awesome though. Look how we went. I went with the characters. He went with the gameplay, and you went with the setting.
Yeah,
And it's actually funny that we literally went characters, gameplay, setting.
true.
All good games.
So there you go.
They're all good games.
Top tier. Final Fantasy came up twice.
Let's see what you got, baby.
It was either going to be that Morrowind, or I was going to go into Dragon Warriors.
Oh man, that's the cherry popper, there, man.
12. Superpower Highlight Part 2.
Yeah, we've been highlighting some of the most interesting, complex, and twisted superpowers. We've done teleportation, super speed. Did we do time control? I know we talked about
Yeah,
that
we
time
did
We did
control.
time control.
Oh yeah, and the big problem with that.
Yeah.
Why you can never have mind control.
Yeah, well,
So what you got?
And we went with highlight because we decided to go against it being broken, but just highlighting a cool superpower.
And let's talk about the
So-
next one though, because I love to throw ones though that fill
well,
it.
I've rolled.
Oh, I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
go.
So
I didn't
thank
know
you,
if you had
sir.
one.
Well, I was getting there, so
Slowly.
I like to go slow, man.
Yeah.
Slow and.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but no, I want to talk about what's the actual name of it? It's like the Mystique ability, the
That's what I was gonna say. Shapeshifting.
shape-shifting. Yeah.
Holy crap! I can't believe we're thinking the same thing. That's why, because I came up with it and said shapeshifting could be good.
Shape-shifting. Like, this is really, it's your, of course, most stealthy espionage type.
Now, are we going
ability.
Mystique shapeshifting?
Well, I mean, just shape-shifting in general.
Yeah.
Is
you can
shapeshifting
go-
I
you
can
can-
imitate other people, and is shapeshifting I can
Yeah.
change my body?
We'll discuss a little bit of both,
Cool.
But now the changing though of your features is very stealthy. Now once you add in the changing of the body into different shapes and into deadly weapons and so forth, but then you got to get into hardening and all that stuff too. So I'm not sure if we want to go there as much as
We probably want to go with the shape-shifting Mystique style.
Yeah.
That's almost its own superpower. The actual I can change my body state is almost a whole different power.
Yeah, I think there's actually a term for the changing of the state. But
Body
I can't
morphing or
think
something?
no, it's, I don't know. I'll think of it later.
Yeah, we'll bull crap it and cut it in.
Yeah. No, we don't do that crap. But yeah, so anyway, for espionage, I think it's awesome. Of course, we talk about a lot of the other powers trying to keep your identity safe. Well, fuck, I'd never be me when I was doing something.
I'd probably never be me. Just be like a dozen and be like, who cares what I look like anymore? I look like whatever I feel
Well,
like.
I think they've even played up that in some of the shapeshifters in the past where they're like, I don't actually know what I look like anymore. So
I look like whoever I feel like, so who cares? In a modern world, the shape-shifting power's usefulness for a person who isn't actually trying to be a great big superhero, it's a very down on the street levels useful power.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can utilize this for privacy. You can just make yourself famous. You can just make yourself look really, really good and become a famous model. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you have control over this ability, you don't even have to steal other people's identity. Imagine if you could just make yourself look better than who everybody, I don't know, Denzel Washington, all the women scream about him.
Well, we all know the things that scientifically make people attractive, symmetrical features, just different things like that where you could go, bam, and so now you have, the best looks.
And I mean, with this power, you could be 9 of the world's most popular celebrities at the same time. It's like I'm all 3 of these folks, man. They're all me. Not to mention, of course, if you're a little bit less, if you're Damien, you want to abuse it, you can use it for mass amounts of theft, identity theft, spying. I mean, what is there you can't really accomplish when you can look like an important person? I mean, if you could make yourself look like the president, you could walk into any place just about and tell people to do stuff.
I wouldn't walk around as the current president. I'd be a little afraid of the mob.
If you walk into one of his buildings, though,
but okay, there
you can make any demands you want, and they'll be like, "That's probably bring me all the money and." On your hands and knees, and they'll be like, "That's him. That sounds like him."
The current president and the previous president have had enough anti people for them that I wouldn't choose as a random person to go into. But I mean, especially celebrities. I mean, you can walk up as a celebrity, you get all kinds of free stuff. You can, you can make money just by showing up to some place.
Well, you guys ain't even scratched the surface.
Oh. We're not as evil as you. I've been waiting.
Damien,
y'all are sitting there like, I'd never be me. Man, I'd be a fucking supervillain.
We do that.
What would you do? What would you do with shapeshifting, man?
Oh, I'd turn myself into Putin and launch nuclear missiles on North Korea.
Oh God!
I mean,
what's so evil?
I mean, why not?
Just straight to massive war crimes, just right off. Just start a war. First thing I do is I'm gonna kill millions. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. It's no matter what power we give him. I think if he had the ability to speak to poodles, he'd find a way to commit mass murder with poodles. It's like,
I mean, that's just one thing you can do, man. Turn yourself into the president of the Swiss fucking bank. I need in the vault.
Yeah. So
as usual, eye power needs to be the ability to see through whatever David has. That's my favorite superpower.
It's whatever.
I need to be able to know where he is.
Oh God! All right.
I never would have thought of that. He turned shapeshifting, Mystique shapeshifting power, into mass murder in 5 seconds.
I know. Starting a nuclear war.
The speed at which you did. Mr. Fleece, that is amazing.
All right.
I'm going to find a power you can't rate. I'm going to do it. I'm going to find one.
All right. Hey, Google, roll me a D20.
Rolling a die with 20 faces. The result is 18.
Still, no. All right, video game remakes.
Oh, man, they have been going wild with that lately. I've heard one of them recently. Somebody told me was really good. Oh, man. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but of course we know the Final Fantasy VII remake is awesome.
Well, now, are we talking about remakes as in that, or that's more of a remaster?
Halo. No, Gears of War. Recently, a person who plays a lot of Gears of War told me that the Gears of War remastered was like an even better experience of the first game. That he played that instead of playing Gears of War 2 and 3 because he liked it that much.
Because, I mean, remastered is, to me, I like remastered games a lot. Like, I replayed Baldur's Gate and Torment, because they did Enhanced Edition remasters. I finally got around to playing Kingdom Hearts because of their remaster of that for the PlayStation 4.
One that irritates me is Tomb Raider.
Now, that was a remake.
Yeah. That one irritates
to me. That's when you go into remake.
That's a whole new
They
game.
did a new character.
And a new story.
New story. Now that's, when I say remake, that's what I think of more so than the remastered.
Then I'm not a fan then because, like I said, because Final Fantasy VII isn't out yet, so we can't judge it. And oh man, what they did to Devil May Cry. Oh, god dang, man. I was furious about that remake. I mean, they went in a direction so different, they should have just called it a new goddamn game and just made their own freaking game.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to go like, why didn't you just make your own damn game? Because you didn't keep enough of this to call it Devil May Cry. Everybody changed to a degree that it might as well have been.
I mean, look when they remade, Metroid, and they turned it into a shooter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, the Metroid Classic was the real way to go. That handheld, I mean, that's why we got so excited about that Metroid handheld.
Yeah.
That looked like the original friggin' Metroid.
Yeah.
And we were like, finally.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be that. Just make a new game. I mean, that's what Q stands is. Unless you're going to seriously remake it, but you're trying to keep the spirit, don't remake it and make a new game and then slap this on and try to make some money. Like, let's call this shooter we're making Metroid.
Yeah.
So we can get Metroid money. It's like, no, what you're doing is you're crapping on our dreams.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
But see, that's also another problem because they're our dreams. The generation today doesn't know anything about the original.
Well, yeah. And I mean,
and
that's how they get away with
that's
it.
exactly what I was thinking. That's how they get away with it.
And they're used to Zero Suit Sexy Samus. They don't remember when it was just us in a yellow suit against aliens in a huge map.
Yeah.
Oh, Castlevania. I hated the remakes of Castlevania, especially the latest one where freaking the Belmont ends up... Oh, spoilers. Belmont ends up being Dracula, and his son ends up being Alucard, like the Belmont son. I'm like, you thought it was a good idea to take the Belmonts, who have traditionally fought against Dracula, that's their whole thing, and instead make them Dracula? That's like finding out that Superman's Lex Luthor. That's so stupid that I can't wrap my head up. But somebody thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I haven't played this, so I don't know about this so much.
You're basically fighting to like bring back your wife or something, find out you're actually the person that killed her, and Satan turns you into Dracula. Something stupid like that. It's really dumb.
That sounds stupid as
No.
fuck.
Then when I thought it was going to redeem itself because your son, as a Belmont, comes to stop you, you just turn him into Alucard. So the chance for them to go back to the Belmont storyline, they crap on it too. And I'm just like, all right.
Oh, man.
But Netflix knew better. They went with the real Belmonts. They went with Trevor.
Netflix went hardcore with
Oh, yeah. They said, yeah. What about that remake? None of that bullshit. No.
All right, I think that wraps us up. Hey guys, thanks for watching this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and down below we have a description with all of our social media. Check that out. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Google+. All the links are down there. You can see some behind-the-scenes stuff, as well as, just whenever we're posting something, we always post to those medias as well. Also, you can look over to the side here and we'll have some links to some other videos you might want to check out, as well as below you'll see the Dicejunkies icon where you can click to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.